Vikings fans, hold on to your seats because I just stumbled upon some absolutely massive information that could change the future of our franchise forever. Imagine a generational quarterback prospect potentially maneuvering his way to Minnesota in a draft day shocker that sounds like something straight out of a movie. Could we really be the ultimate destination for the next big name in the Manning lineage? This situation is heating up faster than anyone expected, and the connections are starting to look way too real to ignore. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, smash the like, and comment below before we dive into this wild possibility. At the center of this debate is Arch Manning, a name that carries immense expectations and a historical narrative that is hard to ignore. While the quarterback room remains a topic of conversation, the idea of Arch Manning landing in Minnesota has surfaced as a legitimate talking point for experts. This potential path relies on the belief that he might utilize a family blueprint, reminiscent of the famous 2004 draft day maneuver by Eli Manning. With the 2027 draft class shaping up to be exceptionally deep, the possibility of a top-tier prospect seeking a specific landing spot adds a layer of intrigue. The connection is rooted in the idea that if Arch Manning seeks to avoid certain franchises, he may look towards stable organizations. The Vikings are currently viewed as a prime destination, often cited for their top-tier facilities, coaching, and overall structure. This reputation makes Minnesota an ideal target for any quarterback looking for the best possible environment to begin a professional career. Of course, the reality of pulling off such a move involves massive logistical hurdles and the willingness of a team to facilitate a trade. The scenario proposed by analysts suggests that if the draft order falls into a certain configuration, the pieces could theoretically align. It is important to note that this is speculative, yet the mention of Arch Manning in this context highlights just how highly he is regarded by those who track draft prospects. As we head toward the 2027 cycle, the pressure on top picks to perform immediately is higher than ever, and finding the right fit is crucial for success. For the Vikings, keeping an eye on these developments is just standard practice. The strategy involves the influence of professional representation, specifically the connection between Arch Manning's agent, Alan Zucker, and industry veterans who have successfully navigated high-profile draft situations in the past. This history provides a framework for how such a move could unfold. The 2004 precedent, where a prospect successfully maneuvered his way to a preferred team, remains the gold standard for this type of leverage. If Arch Manning truly wants to control his professional destiny, the agents managing his career have the necessary experience to execute a similar strategy. For Vikings fans, this creates a fascinating what-if scenario that brings a legendary name back into the conversation. It is a narrative that combines the history of the Manning family with the current competitive standing of the Minnesota franchise. While the team already maintains a clear focus on the upcoming season, the long-term outlook of the roster often involves tracking potential game changers. Arch Manning possesses the tools that scouts look for, but the transition to the professional level remains the ultimate test. His development at Texas has been closely monitored, and draft analysts like Todd McShay have already highlighted his progress, noting significant strides in his mechanics and vision over the last year. These updates are vital because they confirm that the buzz is based on talent, not just a famous surname. The fact that he is currently projected by many as the potential first overall pick justifies the intense level of scrutiny he faces. Every snap he takes and every decision he makes on the field will be dissected by scouts across the league. Whether or not he chooses to follow the path of his uncle, his status as an elite prospect is solidified. Why does this matter right now for the team? The Vikings are constantly evaluating their long-term stability and success, and any prospect with the ceiling of Arch Manning automatically becomes a focus for the front office. The current quarterback situation requires ongoing attention, and while there is a path forward with existing personnel, elite talent is always a priority. Minnesota has spent years building a reputation as a player-friendly organization, which serves as a major recruiting tool. If a prospect of this caliber perceives the Vikings as the best place to develop, it validates the work put into the team's culture and infrastructure. The current roster is focused on competing at a high level, but the draft is the engine of sustained winning in the NFL. Bringing in a player with the pedigree and upside of Arch Manning would signal a shift in trajectory that few other moves could match. It is not just about the name, it is about the potential to stabilize the most important position in the sport for the next decade. The depth of the 2027 class, which features other standout names like Dante Moore and Lenoris Sellers, means the team has plenty of options. But Arch Manning represents a unique confluence of hype, skill, and narrative. This matters because it forces a conversation about whether the team is willing to be aggressive when the time comes. Being prepared means evaluating every possible outcome, including the chance that a franchise-altering player might become available through unconventional means. The organization's ability to remain flexible while adhering to their core principles is what keeps them in these discussions. It is a balancing act of respecting the current players while keeping an eye on the future of the franchise. The comparison to the 1983 draft class is frequently mentioned when discussing the 2027 cycle, and for good reason. Just as that historic draft produced multiple Hall of Fame players, there is a growing expectation that the 2027 group could reach similar heights. Arch Manning is at the forefront of these discussions, and his ability to handle this pressure is being tested every single week in the collegiate landscape. Todd McShay's evaluation, which places him alongside other top prospects, indicates that the evaluation process is already well underway. Consistency in throwing mechanics and processing speed are the two main areas where scouts expect to see continued growth from Arch Manning. If he can demonstrate that he has mastered these fundamentals, his case for being the consensus top pick will become even stronger. For the Vikings, these scouting reports serve as a roadmap. The front office does not rely on media buzz, but they do pay attention to the consensus among top-tier draft analysts. If the scouts agree that Arch Manning is a generational talent, then the team must have a contingency plan. This involves analyzing the salary cap, current depth chart, and draft capital. It is a comprehensive process that requires total focus from the entire scouting department. Even with the uncertainty of the draft order and the performance of other prospects like Brendan Sorsby or Dante Moore, the team must be ready for any scenario. Being a well-positioned organization means you are prepared when an elite talent becomes attainable. The scouting reports are clear. Arch Manning has the tools, but the upcoming season will define his draft day value. His performance will be the deciding factor in whether he stays at the top of the board or faces stiff competition from his peers. The final piece of this captivating story is the historical connection between the Manning family and Minnesota. Seeing the name back in a Vikings uniform would be a moment that transcends typical sports news. Whether this remains a fascinating hypothetical or turns into a major off-season headline, the discussion proves that the Vikings are a team that consistently attracts high-level interest. The 2027 draft is still on the horizon, but the chess match is already being played in the minds of analysts and fans alike. Arch Manning has a long road ahead, and his focus remains on his collegiate development. But the intrigue surrounding his professional future will only intensify as we move closer to the draft. For now, the Vikings are focused on the immediate goals, building on the culture that has made them a destination for top talent. Whether or not destiny brings a Manning back to Minnesota, the pursuit of excellence remains the ultimate objective for the organization. As we wait to see how the draft order shakes out, we want to know what you think about this potential blockbuster scenario. Is Arch Manning the missing piece the Vikings could eventually target, or should the team stick to their current long-term development plan? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below, and don't forget to like this video if you want to stay up to date on all things purple and gold. Your input drives the conversation, and we love hearing from the best fan base in the NFL. Will history repeat itself in 2027, or is this just another wild draft day theory?